Hi, my name is Zarafina Zara, and we are talking about AI today and how it can improve learning in the university sector and particularly in the space of learning design. As we've emerged from the pandemic, the entire world of learning has really revolutionised and changed into more of an online or a hybrid format. And learning design is one of the biggest growing cohorts of a growing learning profession. We're going to talk about AI. So, AI and machine learning. AI is the overall term, and machine learning is a subset of AI. So, what is AI? It helps machines simulate human thinking. It means that there's some complexity to the thinking and allows machines to understand language, image recognition, make decisions, learn from data. Some of the places you might already experience it in your life for quite a long time is Google Assistant, and currently Copilot has really upgraded to something that you can talk to. The best use I've seen of it so far, which is really interesting, was predicting bushfire evacuation routes from Lorne, where there's restricted places to leave from. It's a coastal town, if you don't know it, and it backs onto quite dense bushland. So I saw a model where you were able to predict all of the variables like wind changes, population density, and there tends to be quite a high number of tourists that come into the area around summer. So, what is machine learning? So, machine learning is a subset of AI, and it's how machines learn from data without explicit programming. I remember when I learned to program, every comma had to be in the right place. So this is quite a departure from that. It identifies patterns, makes predictions, draws conclusions, all based on data. So the data set that the AI receives is really important, crucially important to what comes out of it. So you've probably heard this quote a lot, that the future is already here, it's just unevenly distributed. And for me, that means that there's an uneven adoption of AI in the learning world, but there's some really great use cases and examples of how we can catch up. So, uneven acceleration. And higher ed has a reputation for being tech forward, but one of the challenges is the layers of governance that are important, but can make things slower moving than they need to be. So the use case I'm looking at is Khanmigo. So the Khan Academy has been around for many years, and the founder, Sal Khan, wanted learning to be as accessible as possible, having come from a disadvantaged background himself, and has created thousands of videos and was hoping that could be his legacy. But he was an early adopter and got involved with ChatGPT in order to create Khanmigo, which would be a responsive learning platform that would cater to learners and teachers, creating support for teachers in things like creating lesson plans or questions around class content, for learners, questions that they can ask in a kind of a Socratic method. So Khanmigo won't give you the direct response. So if you ask it about a book character and say, why does that character keep on looking at the green light? They will say, oh, it reminds me of my love who's across the way, but won't give you the direct answer of, in this case, it is like this. What that means is that it gives learners who might be less likely to ask questions in class an opportunity to interact in a way that works for them and at a time that works for them. I found this really interesting. The quote from Khan, he says, half our organisation was like, this is a game changer, and everything we've been doing has been trying to scale personalisation, tutoring, engagement with students. And this can do that. I like this, as the other half said, hold on a second. I think it's a real challenge to get into a different mindset of how things might work. The thing I'm most interested in about is increasing accessibility and support for teaching staff. As one teacher said, she knows students posing more questions to Khanmigo than they might typically ask. I've heard metrics of around about reducing teacher load in terms of class preparation around about the quarter mark, meaning that they can spend more time focusing on student time. Some of the challenges are the education hurdles. So, who needs to understand AI within the organisation in order to know how to use and develop it? So, there's an education piece around finding out who the main people are who need to be able to use it and develop it. But I'm proposing a small scale proof of concept so that we can look at those things later, and a clear vision of the proof of concept to have enough of the right stakeholder support. So seeing some really clear metrics. When we're looking at creating AI within the university, you want to make sure that you've got clean data, really strong subject matter expert guidance, and a way that it's going to be maintained so that you're checking the outputs of the AI. Ethics and governance, they're the things that universities do very well and that we are really essential into incorporating into this. So the opportunities with this are that there is a low barrier to entry opportunities across any learning team with a guided use of AI. There are already existing tools within Canvas and Moodle that I think people are underutilising because they're not sure how they work, and I think people are a bit afraid of doing the wrong thing. And there's the opportunity to lead the industry with responsive, individualised student experience. The university market's highly competitive, as is any learning at the moment, because the game has really picked up since COVID, and we're used to a better quality of learning, and those expectations are going to continue to increase. The resources are there. The universities are uniquely placed with teams of data scientists and those with a keen eye on development and ethics and governance. So the solution is to create proof of concept with an existing LLM. So you can do something that's an app. So as I said, within Canvas or Moodle, there's gamification, there's summarization of student comments in Canvas that aren't being used at the moment, or it can also be used as an ideation partner. I've spoken to learning designers who say they think it reduces their workload by around a third in terms of the ideation and the part of the concept where you're summarising old learning materials as well. I would be getting learning designers to measure the estimated time to completion versus the actual completion rate. And you're also wanting to collect qualitative and quantitative data. So the actual numbers, those times are really important, but also what kind of things does it spark off in terms of thinking about that. And that should hopefully lead to bespoke, small, an SLM, a small learning model solution that could be created in-house. Ethics are really important in terms of data security, managing bias. One of the early AI experiments was in what to wear for your for work, and it was the data set were young women in Chicago who were mainly white, and this app was deployed to the Caribbean, where there's a much more colourful dress sense, and the AI was basically saying that everything that they got dressed in for work was wrong. So it's really important that you're aware of the kind of data that goes in, and also that it's clean data. Having worked in university contexts, I know how data is collected. There needs to be some the proper permissions given for that. So they're just some things to think about. Okay, what kind of team would we put together for this? We'd look to put together a team of education, so creating guided overviews, deep dives, coaching to identify use cases within the team. So, what part of your work could be improved, what workflow could be improved. Exploration, so discovery of where that can best be used, and tool identification for next steps. Outcome-based ideation for in-house AI. So you'd need a team around that kind of exploration stage, which would mainly be around workshops and gathering the right people to take something to the next stage. An in-house proof of concept would need an AI project manager or strategist, so guiding governance, ethics and overall approach, a project lead to direct the development for testing and quality assurance, so checking the outcomes, and two data scientists and a developer. How do you measure success? Well, first of all, we need to make sure that we're using tech for the right problems. Sometimes we think tech is the solution without thinking about the kind of problems that it addresses. So based on the metrics that we set in the discovery workshops that relate to workplace tasks, we want to be able to then extrapolate on where it can best be used. That would be using already existing AI tools. So Canvas has a plugin to summarize student chats, which would reduce the time that you're looking through every single student comment in Canvas, for example. So, like, what kinds of tools are already around? How can large language models be used safely without compromising data? The thing that I'm most passionate about this is I think this improves accessibility. A lot of learning design is done without accessibility in mind. So without people with ADHD or autism or vision impairment, you can really do a quick pass with AI to say, is this meeting those criteria? And I think that's vitally important in the future.